G'day. How are you guys going? 43
Yo.
and Hex Enthusiast. How are you guys going?
What's going on?
Hey.
What's going on? Pi
Good,
Excellence, Hex Enthusiast.
Nice to see you
I'm
guys.
good, man. I'm good. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. There's heaps of stuff going on. It's hard to keep up with everything that's happening.
Have you guys cracked your beers yet? I need to go inside and grab a beer.
Oh, mate, where's your Peroni? What's going on?
I'm going to go get it. Bear with me.
I have got, unfortunately, I drank all my beers, and now I'm drinking Class of ciders.
Very
because,
nice.
Yeah, that was all that was in the fridge.
Nice. I'm on the good stuff, on the no sugars, mate.
Oh,
Yeah,
look out.
I'm still somewhere where I can't drink for another few hours, so
Yep.
We'll do that later.
No dramas at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been heaps of stuff been going on. I noticed just like literally as we went to air, Richard Hart has got like an audio out. So don't go and try and find it and listen to it. Stay and watch us.
Yeah, it was a good surprise, eh? Yeah.
You can go watch it because I am keen to hear what he had to say. But I listened to the first like 30 seconds because it only literally just came out.
Yeah.
And it sounded like he was talking about like, you know, crypto good principles, you know, not giving you keys to middlemen and basically how, you know, decentralization, all that sort of stuff. So I would be interested to hear what you have to say. Hopefully there's some updates or something going on.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was pretty interesting just, you know, listening to the first half. He's sort of just backing up, you know, all the things that he's done for crypto, and he's saying that he doesn't even need to be here, you know, but he is, and he's doing it while he can, and, you know, just being the best person he can for everyone. But he mentioned, you know, about him even being slightly crushed with freedom of speech at the moment, and stuff like that. So yeah, he's hitting some good points. I only got halfway through it, I reckon, on 2x when Hexologist put it up. But yeah, even talking a bit about BitBoy going back down the ringer. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, that's a bit of a sad tale. Well, that was one of the 3 L's, isn't it? It's the ladies, liquor, and leverage. So maybe I hope BitBoy sorts his stuff out, but I don't know. Maybe that ship has sailed.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, let me just see what's going on in the chat. See if there is some peeps in the house.
I could be wrong, but I think I think that the 2 years ago was probably the first cycle where BitBoy probably had more money than he knew what to do with, and I think that maybe that might have had something to do with it. You know, like it's different people handle just the excesses that come with having, you know, a lot of money. Different people handle that differently.
He had a bit of a troubled past as well, didn't he? BitBoy. He had a bit of an issue with addiction, I think, early on. And so, you know, Richard has always talked about like sometimes when you get mad gains, like heaps of wealth, it can amplify certain you know, characteristics that you might already have. So I think, but yeah, anyway, it's not for me to judge. He seems okay at the moment, but hopefully it all works out.
He was actually praising him up for you know, the stuff he did with SBF and all that sort of thing. So he said, you know, how he started off with troubles and then came good and started doing really good things, and then he's fallen off the edge again. So he was praising him up as well, and he wished him all the best. So
sorry, hey, Jex is here.
Hello.
What's going on, Jexa?
I wasn't sure if you're getting your mic stuff ready. How you going, Jexa?
Yeah, good. I had a few delays. I was on a weird VPN and I was waving my hand, and about 4 seconds later, I could see it on the screen.
Oh wow!
Set some shit out.
Yeah, that sucks.
So did I miss something? Did Richard pipe up and do a little?
Just there's some audio out. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Missed that.
Yeah. Oh, it's just literally it just happened now, and there was go.hex.com had an update as well.
Correct.
So did you guys see that?
A big update. Yeah. Removed everything.
Yeah. It's like it's completely removed, but it's also, it shows you how you can set up you know, you can set up your own front end for interacting with the stakes. So I mean, that was always the way, really, is that
Yeah.
Hex Toys also has their they tweeted about their GitHub and how you can go and host a version
Yes.
of their website,
Good point.
hexcrypto.com, on Vercel. You can just go
Yes.
and like load another version on there. So that's cool as well. If you just want to make
that's
your own
very
version
cool.
of it, your own website.
Yeah, maybe I'll quickly bring that up so we can, so the audience can see what we're talking about. But yeah, so how's everything been with you, Jexa? All good?
Yeah, going well. Been pretty busy actually. A lot of different things
No
going
doubt.
on. A lot of activity in the ecosystem now. So
Yeah,
plenty to keep you busy. Just managing all the various offshoots of the things you already have as well. That takes a bit of time these days.
Yeah, exactly. So this is go.hex.com, and so this is so it looks like it's got the IPFS.
I've tested out the DWeb one, and that's perfect. Like that was essentially the same as the main site. The only thing I did notice at one point, but then I think it came good, as there was no US dollar values appearing, but by and large, it's pretty good.
And this was that hexcrypto.com. So is this Hex Toys, is it? 43?
Yeah, Hex Crypto is, I think put together by Hex Toys.
Right. And yeah, I have seen that there's a GitHub as well.
So he Hex Toys tweeted about it today.
Right.
So yeah, you can get the GitHub, the link for GitHub from there.
Yeah, he's a G, the Hex Toy guys. I actually recently got a couple more pins because I had the PLS pin, but I had a few other pins. Here we go, open source. Oh, so that was just the site that I was on. So they've got a marketplace as well.
Yeah, he's got quite a lot. He's got into all the NFTs. He was doing NFTs in the early days of Hex.
Yeah. So this is the GitHub. So you can literally just fork this and run it on Versal or any other provider. I mean, Versal is free, so it's like pretty easy to do. But yeah, that's awesome that he's got that, and this is there just to, I guess, like he's done something for the community. So like, let's shout out his marketplace as well. Looks like there's a few cool things to check out
and
there.
You don't have to do it on Versal. You can host it whichever way you like. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few things been going on. One thing I'll probably mention this at the end as well, but I wanted to just quickly get it out there that the Pulse petition, there's this amicus brief that I'm not entirely sure if it was Coffee or who was responsible for starting this, but shout out to those guys, whoever started it.
I think it was Coffee and Kinetics.
100%.
And Kinetics. Okay, cool. Yeah. Shout out to those guys. And I implore people to, if they agree with the petition, to sign it. And we're trying to get as many signatures as possible. So that's just literally pulsepetition.org.
Yeah. One point on that is, although it's Pulse petition and it's RH centric, it's important for the whole of crypto. So if you've got other protocols or people that are in other cryptos that are just crypto friendly in general, they probably need to put their differences aside a little bit. And
well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, half the crypto space has been sued by the SEC, so it's like we need to sort of join together a little bit and push back.
The sad thing is, a lot of them will not see past their dislike of Richard to go and participate in this, because they'll see it as helping Richard but not helping themselves, which is a shame, because they don't.
That's not.
I'm not sure if that. I know Richard's been trying to communicate this message, but I'm not sure that it's getting out there very well. And his message is he's fighting for all of crypto, and he is. But I just think there's a lot of people in the industry that wouldn't see it like that, which is a shame.
Mm-hmm.
He is the one that is probably going to make the biggest dent in terms of fighting for everyone's rights, and whether or not he'll get the recognition for it or not, or whether they'll just say, "Oh, the scammer got off," I don't know.
Yeah,
but it's a shame that it's.
I mean, it's like we should like, you know, you elect like a champion to fight the fight, you know, and it's like he's the man to do it. Like, he destroys people, you know, bring your heroes here to die. He destroys people in these debates and stuff. He's one of the most knowledgeable guys in crypto going around. And
I don't think I've heard anyone.
Like,
I don't think I've heard anyone talk about what he talks about with as much conviction, but and has done as much as he has. Like, I don't think there's anyone in crypto who has done what he's done. The only person out there that I could think of that speaks in a similar way when it comes to, you know, freedoms to transact and free market stuff is probably Eric Voorhees to some extent. But
agree.
You know, but I still think that he's sort of. It almost seems like he's sort of done his dash when it comes to how much he wants to, be at the front, you know, at the coalface of it. Whereas Richard seems to be like he's really doing what he can right now. Like, as we speak right now, he's doing he's doing his utmost.
I would hazard a guess to say that Richard deliberately put himself in harm's way to force some of this. I mean, why do what he done towards the end of last cycle if he didn't want this sort of attention? Like, he could have just sat back and done none of this. But I think it was, I think there was a bit of method to the madness. Obviously, he was trying to onboard a lot of people.
Yeah, he's always just trying to get eyeballs, but he knew that if that puts him in the crosshairs, then he's very capable of taking the fight to them.
And
I think that's going to be all right.
Yeah.
You go.
Sorry, you go, mate.
No, I was, you know, I think all of the marketing and everything he's done and getting eyes on him has been really good. But I think it's still going to take a couple of years before people have conviction, like in Hex, as much as they do these days in Bitcoin and stuff. Because look how long it took for people to believe in Bitcoin. I think we're still a while away to, you know, really get the confidence in it.
Isn't that interesting that, like, when Bitcoin was around, you know, in early days, people always say, "Oh, if I could buy a Bitcoin for $3, you know, I would have bought heaps." And it's like, no, you probably wouldn't have, because I remember when it was around, and people were just saying, "Oh, it's a scam. It's you know, drug dealers are using Bitcoin for nefarious reasons," and just like, you wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot barge pole. So it's funny to kind of think that in hindsight, people have this, "Oh, I would have been all in." It's like, well, now here's your opportunity with the Richard Hart ecosphere, you know, your Hex and your PulseChain, where heaps of people are telling you that it's a scam or that it's no good and this and that. But if you actually believe, you've got half a chance to get those outsized returns.
Absolutely.
I think it's a shame that Eric probably hasn't got a great liking of Richard for whatever reason, because I think those two would be pretty formidable if they went into that. Yeah,
and isn't it ironic? Because they've got such like an overlap in terms of ideals of decentralization, in terms of self-custody of keys, and the permissionless transaction, permissionless transfer of money. The whole permissionless ideal that I think 43 showed us that video. I really love that one. But he can't get over. He does. It's like he's got some cognitive dissonance where he just can't get past the twerking, and he's just not willing to go any deeper. But that's to his.
I don't think he's losing any. I don't think he's losing any sleep. Though. I just think it's not on his radar. He doesn't care for it to be on his radar. He's been focused on different aspects. Like, I really think he's been focused on, like, he's very much involved. He's always seemed to be involved in the cross-chain type stuff. Like, he He's very much. I've seen him in support of Thor Swap, which is in my opinion. You guys have heard me say this before. I think that is the best cross-chain, decentralized, as much as possible cross-chain swap that's out there. He does have a financial interest in that. Did you say?
Well, yeah. Well, Shapeshift is primarily that's its job, is to move funds around. So he's obviously going to be a heavy backer of any technology that facilitates his business growing for sure.
But is that would you say that? But it does offer. I mean, I guess the point. There's ways you can go about doing things. You can go about doing it in a centralized way, and he's backing things like he's backing something that's going about doing it in a more decentralized way than anything else we've ever seen ever. Like every other cross-chain swap has been far more centralized than what Thor Swap is. And look, I don't know that Thor Swap is. I don't know that hasn't got bugs or anything. But I think the risk that you take with that is less than a centralized exchange, given that there's no KYC.
No, I agree.
Yes.
I was just like I fully support him, and I think he's trying to do the right thing by the industry. But everyone does have a vested interest in
financial vested interest. I'm always a bit skeptical like that as well. Like it's like when Al Gore came out and he's like, oh, we've got to save the planet, and he's sort of thinking, well, the planet will be fine. The human race might be fucked, but the planet, I'm sure, will be fine. But it's like this whole green carbon credit things. Sorry. And he's like, oh, but also it just so happens that I can sell you some carbon credits too. And, I've got the solution, and it just so happens that I profit from it as well. Like,
I wouldn't characterize. I don't know if I'd characterize him in that same. That's a pretty
that's rude.
That is way that is very harsh. I would say I wouldn't put Eric Voorhees in the same boat as what Al Gore like what a lot of. I think he truly believes in having decentralized stuff. If he wanted like to just have a financial interest in something and not worry about like the decentralized nature of things, then he wouldn't have pushed something. I mean, the way it would have cost a lot of money to have that developed, and if he contributed to that, he could have just done it in a less decentralized way and cost nothing. He already had a system. So I don't know. I think credit where credit's due. But I don't think we're ever going to see those two on the same page, and nor do we need to. I'm happy just to.
I think Richard is actually a bit more hardline when it comes to the actual freedom to transact and the freedom and sort of censorship resistance, because Eric sort of stood up for Uniswap when they censored the Hex contract, and I thought that was dirty pool, because it's like, hang on.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a different. Once again, I had a different perspective. I want to like push back on it, just because I want to be controversial. Not just because I want to be controversial, just because I want to push back, because I think I understood where he was coming from. Right. What he's saying is, he was saying, from what I understood, Uniswap the company, and I'm not defending Uniswap by any stretch of the imagination. I think he was saying Uniswap the company is free to do whatever they want with the front end. If you want a front end that doesn't have KYC, if you want, then you go and build it. And that was his angle. He's saying, if you want good stuff, you go and like get it built, because this stuff ain't building itself. And that's the beauty of what Richard Hart's done. He actually has gone and had stuff built that you can now go and host your own version of the website. So we've got all the answers in our ecosystem that Eric Voorhees is talking about. So he's talking about this is what you need to do. But Richard Hart's gone and had some of it done, and then other people in the community go and build stuff. They just go off and build stuff.
Go ahead and still interact with those Uniswap contracts, create your own front end. So to be fair, they didn't really censor it. They just censored the front end, but you can get
the
around
front
that.
end.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's good.
That always comes back to the being a company in the US where they have to comply with things, and especially because they've got VCs and there's a lot of money tied up in that, and they can't be doing anything. You seem to be supporting anything illegal, even though they've just gone and dumped, what was it, 40 million on everyone's head or something ridiculous with their token.
Well, I had a set an Arkham alerts up for the Ethereum Foundation every time they sold, right? I had to turn it off because they were selling so often. I was getting too many emails just coming through, just being, oh, guess what? The Ethereum Foundation are selling again. I'm like, this is like 5th time today for 10 days straight.
I monitor their addresses, but only on large transactions because they are.
Yeah, I have to filter it because, but still like 50 grand here, 50 grand there. They just sell it like it's gone out of fashion. Like, but yet people have a go at Richard for having this, sacrifice set of wallets that the people have sacrificed into, and the funds, well, primarily have never moved, and it's like, but yeah, for some reason Ethereum, Vitalik and these guys can dump ETH on your head all day long, and no one has a problem.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, there's definitely a double standard going on in the industry. That's for sure.
Yeah, big time.
In regards to,
go ahead.
In regards to Mango Junkie's comment about like Richard's audio, I was pretty worried at first because Hexologist put it up. I wasn't sure if it was a joke or not. It was getting to a bit there where I was like, oh, is this just waiting for something to come up, some sort of joke or whatever. But yeah, it's good to hear his voice, like Mango Junkie was saying.
Yeah, shout out to Mango Junkie. He's a legend, always in the chat. He's always been around. And Red Squirrel in there too. Yeah. Sommy, no way. There you go.
Is it the real Sommy though?
Send him the link.
No, it is. I think it's got his personal account. So he said, yeah, good to see it there. Nothing really new. Oh, so yeah, he's saying about the Richard Hart audio. So I guess it's that sort of proof of life thing, right? So that we know that Hexologist hasn't actually eaten him when he got those random like meat packages in the mail.
He got that?
Well, Hexologist was getting these like steaks or something, or meat or something in the mail. And then and it's like, should you really be like, I appreciate that it was probably the intention was good. It was like a gift. But then, you're eating a not like random meat, like from an anonymous. Like, and then the joke was that.
The best. Yeah.
I've eaten some pretty questionable stuff, but there's no way I'd eat gift meat.
Gift meat, anonymous meat. And then that was the thing, was that he was like, well, hang on.
Come on, Jack said, depends how hungry you are, mate. Depends how hungry you are.
I'm going to be pretty damn hungry to do that.
As long as you cook it up, should be right. But then, there was a point where he was like, well, there is a possibility that, non-zero possibility that that a lot of the Twitter stuff or the audio could be AI and this and that. And so maybe RH had actually passed away, and that Hexologist had been sent his in bits, and then he'd consumed him. So that was the joke anyway. It's a bit morbid humor, but I thought it was funny. But now we've got proof of life, like RH is back.
And it's recent as well, like it's recent happenings. It's not
super recent,
a week or two ago. Yeah, it's like the past day. So yeah,
and it's because it's within the context of what's happening at the moment. And then also I don't think you can get AI to do a 40-minute, like it would be too obvious if you might be able to do an AI snippet of like 10 seconds, and people would argue whether that's AI or whether that's actually him, but not 40 minutes. So
yeah, I don't think we'd be expecting any live streams or anything anytime soon.
Well, the court case is what, November 28th, isn't it?
In 2 months.
Oh, sorry, the hearing.
Yeah. In that audio, he's talking about, how bad of a job Gensler's done, and he hasn't got anything through yet, and basically trying to, I think, pumping us up to know that, he's got this in a way. He's pretty confident with the way things are going, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Guzzler's racking up the L's.
Yeah. So he's saying, was Richard saying he hasn't been served or anything? Is that what you just mentioned then?
Oh no, he hasn't said that exactly.
Right.
I think.
Sorry, I thought you were alluding to.
He was saying though that he has had his freedom of speech sort of, in a way, crushed a bit, you know, at the moment. So he hasn't actually said that he's been served or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Shout out to Claz in the chat. She's like, my cider that I'm drinking. She did a thing recently that with Lamont. I don't know if you guys saw that.
That was awesome.
Coffee as well. There's some really good clips from Coffee and Hodpool. Shout out to them. They did a really good job. And I think, credit to Claz for organizing that, because Lamont's been talking about it as if it's like a pilot program now. And that it kind of indicated to me that maybe this could be, you know, a yearly thing that people could actually contribute to these students. And we're not talking a lot of money. Like we're talking, this was like $1,200 that was raised in total, and they got $40 per wallet. They got, you know, 555.5 hex, and then the equivalent as a HSI, 369,000 PLSX, and a whole bunch of PLS. But it was like they can actually play with the the app.icosa front end with their HSIs. They can tokenize them, they can detokenize them, send them. They could sell them for Icosa and stake their Icosa. So it gave them something to play with, which I think is the best kind of learning, is when you're actually, you know, experimental learning, where you're sort of, or experiential learning, where you're actually playing with things with your own hands. So I thought that was a really good program.
He's running this in a university, is he?
Yeah, it's a university. Cool. So he's got 33 students. And so, I mean, I remember about a couple of years ago, people were saying, oh, look, the hexonomics of, the T-shares, one day this will get taught in schools. It's like, it's that, Nobel Prize worthy. And it was sort of like, I don't know if it's going to get taught in schools, who knows? And then like less than a year later, it's like being taught literally at a university level with the blackboards, and he's just going through teaching it. And you're thinking, holy shit, like, and for a small amount of money that people contributed, Klaus organized it all. And it might be something that keeps going. You never know in the future.
Yeah. No,
can you imagine if you're a student? Can you imagine if you're a student in that class and you throw like, I know students are renowned for not having much money. That's I recall. That's what I recall back in the day. But if they did have a bit of disposable income and they decided to put some money into Hex, can you imagine by the time they finish their college degree, they may not even have to go out and work?
Imagine that if it paid for their tuition. If they literally were just like, throw $1,000 in, 50-50 PLS and Hex or whatever, and then just left it until the end of their college, and they're like, oh, that's handy. I can pay my tuition. That would be.
I was having a discussion with a family member earlier today, like one of my cousins, and I was saying, hey, I'm just starting to get this. I'm really starting to get that bull market vibe that, in the deep in my belly,
tingling in your balls. Maybe you wouldn't say that.
Not to my cousin. No, I don't know.
Okay, scratch that.
I'm not.
Scratch that.
What, literally?
Tingling in your balls? No, you probably. I don't know. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
So far, Dozzy, you've just told me while I'm talking to my, my 50-year-old cousin, female cousin, I'm telling her about the tingling in my balls that I need to scratch and it needs to be scratched.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
good enough for Einstein. Okay, keep going.
So I was just saying to her, look, I'm just starting to get this feeling now. It doesn't mean anything. It just could be me. But I feel like we've been through the death and destruction for 2 years, and I'm starting to get this feeling that, it just feels like things you know that song, "Things Can Only Get Better." It's starting to feel like that to me. Well, and I could be wrong, but that's what it's starting to feel like to me.
I agree, but I also am sort of cognizant of the fact that, like, in this sideways market, you sometimes have like the crab down, and then you can have a crab up where it's predominantly sideways, but at least the direction is crab up. You know what I mean? Like, we're sort of crabbing up, and I'd rather be going up, like crabbing up and to the right. You know what I mean? Than down. So it's like it's starting to, and it's not too late. Like, it's only really done what, a 2x from the bottom.
Yeah, so I'm just recently starting to notice more people that aren't in crypto, or that I don't know to be in crypto, are now asking about it again. So I think it's starting to bubble up, and
that's interesting.
It's making a press here and there, so people are starting to talk about it again. And that's usually.
So could we get euphoria earlier if people are starting to get in earlier? Is that what Somi talks about sometimes?
Look, I don't think anything's happening out of time with past cycles. Like, looking at the chart, everything appears to be sort of in the same realm of previous cycles. And I think the thing that will happen is this will be all over before we realize. It will happen quick, I think. And by, when I say quick, I don't mean it's any quicker than normal. It's just that it comes up unexpectedly. Like, we've been in a bear for we've actually been in a bull for a while now, but it doesn't feel like it.
It's just the start of the year, November.
Yeah, by the time we finish phase 2, that'll go past in a flash, and then you'll have the mayhem at the end of it, and we'll be back to.
So here's a question for you.
Very quickly.
Here's a question for you, Jackson. Do you think that, like I said, because if people are starting to get into crypto, but the awareness is a bit higher now, so people are getting into it sooner, is there, like, I guess, a possibility that the 4-year cycle thing, we could have like an early bull run, like what Tangent calls, I guess, like a hyper bull, and then a breakdown, and then like a proper hyper bull, like, because, you know, as more people are getting into it sooner, or do you think it'll just be literally 2025 when you see that?
I mean, until I see something different appear, I'm going with the 2025 cycle end, because everyone gets excited because this time is different, and that's why 3 Arrow Capital got caught out, because they were all, their whole preface for the market was this is going to be a super cycle, and they got chewed up and spat out. So, and a lot of other people did as well, because they thought this time was different.
Yeah,
and especially what I think will be one of the limiting factors is if you see larger players come in. Let's say we get more adoption from more traditional firms. If they see a portfolio go up 100, 200%, that is like mega gains in their industry, in their game. So they'll be taking profits. Yeah, and they'll probably do it quicker than what crypto bros would, because crypto bros are used to sitting on everything to the last dying breath, where these guys they'll de-risk as soon as they get some juicy profits, I think. So I wouldn't be, yes, they'll flow more money in, but they'll probably flow it out just as quick.
In the audio that Richard was doing, he touched on that about people are saying with the new ETF and stuff like that with Bitcoin that you know, everyone's expecting it to just decorrelate and just go nuts, but he truly believes that it's still going to stay correlated, and everyone's getting all hyped up sort of over nothing. And this is when I got into the stream, but yeah, he started to touch on Hex, even showing that it isn't correlated at the moment. So
well, that's interesting, because the S&P 500 has been shitting the bed for the last few weeks, I guess, but BTC's been doing well, and I guess Pulse has been doing well as well. So hopefully we can keep going. It looked like I mean, I can bring up the charts, but it looked like to me that the PLS price on the daily had wicked down and touched the 20 MA on the daily, and then just there must have been some limit orders or something. It just hit that and went straight back up, and then it's been up ever since. So hopefully we can keep making.
Not done with their little run up on Bitcoin yet. I think we're taking a little pause, but it'd be nice to see that get a bit of follow through.
If you want to share your screen, Jexa, feel free to show us.
I haven't got anything set up at the moment, but that's what I put on last week because I had 38K as the target, and I've been tweaking a little bit more and looking at a little bit more and comparing to last cycles. If I think you get a pause at the 38K, and it'll be if you got a blow off through to sort of 42, then that I think you'd expect a 30% pullback at that point. That would be
So I mean, we've been making higher highs in BTC. So, and then we had this close the weekly below the 20 MA. That was the Israel Hamas candle. And then we had the fake BTC ETF stuff, and it's just been going gangbusters since. I have noticed that this resistance is holding though, this 35K. It refused to close above it on the weekly. It literally just got rejected off that. So yeah, maybe it will come down, but that's part of
go to a daily on that one.
That's part of the crabbing up.
So that actually broke up. If you zoom into that last little rise up, that actually had an ascending triangle, broke up, now testing support.
Yeah, true. Okay, on the daily, it's actually testing it as that would be awesome if it can bounce off that and go up to 38 or something.
Yep, and that's right on the 50. Okay,
so out of all this, we've had the falafel candle, the Hamas candle, and then is the next one the ball tingling candle?
The ball tingling
when that breaks out. Yeah.
Oh, for me, the ball tingling candle was basically, this is on PLS, right? Because we had the triangle that broke down, it came back up, and then it got rejected, and it was here where it kind of retested it. That was when I was just like, let's go. Yeah. And it just didn't stop. That was epic. And then this is on the daily when I was saying it wicked down to the 20 MA and just came straight back up. So yeah, I mean, if we can create a higher low and then higher highs, crab upwards for the win. But
this has all been, this whole move on Pulse has been Bitcoin centric, I think. It feels
I agree.
It was like the whole market bubbling up.
And isn't it interesting that when Larry Fink started talking about, from the CEO from BlackRock, about the flight to quality, that BTC was analogous to gold in that respect, that it just basically, people were like, oh, the shit's hitting the fan with the S&P 500. Then it was like, that's when BTC actually started doing well. But then now look, actually, okay, so S&P 500 has had a monster candle. It's an engulfing candle too. Holy shit, on the weekly. Oh, that's bullish for stocks.
Yeah, that's off the back of the rate pause, I think.
Goodness.
But the rate pause was 90% like expected though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So then why would they?
Yeah.
I reckon half of this shit is market manipulation, hey, because this happened before the Israel in like the Hamas invasion of Israel. Like it was literally like the week before. So it's like these motherfuckers are front running it. So maybe, I don't know, but this seems bullish for stocks. If it's like a big engulfing candle on the weekly, if that translates into BTC, and then into, I kind of consider Pulse to be like a leverage trade almost on that BTC. Like if they go up by 5%, we go up by 20% or something like that. So
yeah, that's what most stocks have been doing.
Cool. And just a quick thanks, Jexa, for your helping me with this Knuckle Flow. Yeah, but you kind of pointed me in the right direction. So this was the Nakamoto coefficient thing, and I actually made some changes to this chain.go to add PLS, but this guy Corky, shout out to Corky, he has created a branch.
Is he part of it?
He's one of the devs. Yeah, he did a bunch of front end stuff for Pulse Bitcoin, I think. And he's just in the Pulse dev thing. So he saw my request and was like, "Oh yeah, I'll make these changes." Did a pull request, and I think that's been accepted now. So we should see it appear on this Nakamoto coefficient site soon, once they,
So can you give a run through what that's actually showing?
Oh, what the Nakamoto coefficient?
So just that chart or that table you've got there. What are
yes,
we
this is for all. These are all, okay. So these are all the different chains, like blockchains and their respective, like real time Nakamoto coefficients, and it's calculated based on the number of validators, the number of nodes, however you calculate the Nakamoto coefficient. Like they go into
better.
Yeah. I think so. Geez, I really should know that. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So what are we looking at?
We haven't been listed on there.
Okay.
It was a while ago that I looked into this stuff, so I'll probably have to go back and refresh it. But maybe I'll talk about that another time once.
Can I just have a look at ETH and Polygon and just see?
Sure.
So ETH.
Actually, so maybe you're right. Maybe it is the lower is the better, because you got here previous value is 2. And what was the other one? Polygon.
Polygon.
So doesn't Base have just one node or something? So they're not even on here.
Base not on there. I'm not sure. Well, Binance they only have 20 or 30, don't they?
So maybe you're right. Maybe the lower is better. So that's my mistake. But anyway, I'll look at that once I know a bit more about it. But I just wanted to say thanks for helping me hit up the devs and the getting that pull request thing sorted, because I think that's now in the wings, and it just shows it's like a credit to our community that we can have a thought, and then we can talk to a dev or whatever, and they can actually go ahead and make changes. And it's we've got builders in the community that are quite active. And
so I've seen that the pull request was checked and it's confirmed, but it hasn't actually been merged yet. So
hasn't merged. Yes. So hopefully we'll see it next week. And because I just think that as a metric of decentralization, it might be a good thing to kind of be able to use as a, if it's good, we use it as a bragging point. If it's bad, what do we need to do to increase that? And then at least we're on the same playing field where we can say this is an actual metric, which is consistent across different blockchains, rather than just spewing this, we've got 50,000 validated thing, which is great. But if it's 50 people with 1,000 validators, not that that's the case, but it's, I would like a more accurate way of doing it. That was my only point. We lost 43.
How much longer were you planning on running this stream for?
Maybe another 20 minutes, if that's cool.
Did we want to have a chat about the communist stuff, or?
Yes, I think this is a perfect time to do it. So let me get my pillow and
just don't open another beer yet.
Yeah. So I guess I'll kick it off, and what I won't do in 20 minutes is try and explain it all. A, because I'm still trying to wrap my head around a few things.
Yeah.
And B, there's quite a few moving parts and a few things you need to understand so you know what's going on. But let's give the high level overview of what it is.
Yeah, so the too long didn't read thing, because Hex Enthusiast sent me a link and I was like, thanks bro, and I'll check it out. And I just didn't have time. So maybe there's other people out there that are as slack as I am that just were like, what's the too long didn't read sort of.
So I've listened to Cabana's stream first of all, and then I've gone back and actually watched Johnny Sachs's 90-minute video where he actually goes through all the numbers on it on the spreadsheets and things like that, just trying
Yeah.
to understand it. So long and short of it all, so he's been hyping up the secret weapon, and the secret weapon is not a token or anything, it's a methodology. But what this methodology is using is the communist protocol, which is I guess it's a derivative of Hex, and more.
And it's paid out to stakers. Paid out to stakers, right?
It's more a derivative of T shares. So think of it like tokenized T shares. So when a Hex staker does a stake, and I think it's got to be longer than 180 days, they are in a position where they can mint some com token for starting the stake. And then at the back end of it, so they get about 25% at the time of starting the stake, and then the remaining 75% at the back end once the stake's been seen through to completion. And the numbers are such that you get a certain amount of com issued on the number of days you stake and the size of your stake, so based in T shares. So that's why it's like a representation of
proportional
tokenized stakes. And so the secret weapon is, okay, how can we mobilize that derivative and use it to essentially onboard people to Hex, potentially at zero cost. And I'll explain that. So someone comes and spends $100 to buy Hex and stake it. Wouldn't it be cool if on doing that they could mint $100 worth of communist coin or token? So, but now that's highly simplified, and there's a whole lot of variables in between doing that and getting 100%. The starting point is 5%, but it's just if we can get an equilibrium between these two systems, basically you can give people a way to onboard risk-free, essentially. Now, there's a whole lot of back-end mechanics, but what do they do with the com when they get it? Do they just dump it? And what impact does that have on price and so forth? So you've got to understand a lot of those background mechanics. But we don't instantly go from where we are now to being able to issue risk-free opportunities. There's a way we need to ladder into that. And it starts off by, okay, we need to get a certain amount of liquidity between Hex and com, so we can offer 5% return. So if someone stakes $100 worth of Hex, they get $5 returned. So they and Johnny Sachs is referring to that as a coupon value. So think of it like a bond, where the bond might be paying 5%. So if you buy a bond, you're going to get 5% on that.
Yes.
That's a very simplified way. Now, obviously, bonds do that year on year. This is a one-off payment. So essentially, someone brings economic energy into Hex, and they get this coupon rate starting at 5%. And if we can slowly build that up to get to 80% or 100%, then you reduce the risk of people coming into Hex. And it's price positive for Hex. I think I've sort of explained that without going too much into the detail.
Yeah, interesting. So it incentivizes people to stake as well, and to
so all those coupon rates that I spoke about, from 5% up to 100%, that's based on a max length stake.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're essentially locking up a whole heap of Hex supply, giving them a representation of that in the tokenized form of com, which is then can be moved around the ecosystem, and we can do other things with it.
Yeah.
But then you're pairing it with a bunch of Hex, and this is where I've got to look into this a little bit more. But Johnny Sachs is saying it's like a repo market where the liquidity providers, so people can come in and provide liquidity on the com and the Hex side, and they're not offside for doing that. So they provide a service, and they actually don't take an L for doing that.
So, but as people are buying more Hex, won't they end up with more COM? Like if people are selling their COM for Hex, they'll end up with more COM if you're LPing.
So they're not.
If they're selling their COM, they'll get more Hex.
Correct.
So they'll get the Hex back that they sort of put in, is what he's trying to say.
So if you are providing liquidity with both sides, so if are you saying, or okay,
yeah. So you start off putting it in at a particular ratio. So the first rung is this 5% coupon rate, and to do that, you've got to put in 95 Hex and 5 COM. So that's the ratio how it starts.
Okay.
And over time, that ratio changes. So there's less Hex in the ratio and more COM.
Okay.
Essentially what it means is people are getting issued COM, and if they wanted to dump it into Hex, then the people that are providing the liquidity in Hex aren't getting their Hex stripped off of them. They're actually getting the Hex back.
Right.
So that's the value's getting back to the liquidity provider. That's
actually pretty clever.
I've way oversimplified that, and to be honest, you really need someone like Johnny to sit down and go through it so you understand the mechanics of it.
Yeah. Well, we can have him on if he wants to come on next week.
Yeah, I've had a chat to him about it, and you just got to give him a bit of a heads up and organise.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because it's incentivizing people to stake, and it's providing like a coupon or something for people to. So there seems to be some value there, and it goes in line with the ethos of Hex and the contract.
It does, but do you think it would create any type of confusion for new people coming in, where they're already confused enough by getting onto PulseChain or getting Hex or whatever it happens to be, and then now there's this next step, like maybe buy.
They don't have to do it though. They don't have to do it.
Stake your Hex and then get the COM. So I don't know. No, they don't.
To me, I think the incentive, if you said to someone, look, mate, you can get a risk-free position, they would bother to learn it.
Yeah, it's true.
I suspect people were going to buy that Hex or not. Like, and if there was this additional incentive through COM, and they weren't interested in it, it wouldn't affect that. They wouldn't not buy it because of this additional incentive.
It's the staking component as well that's important.
Yeah,
because a lot of people will buy Hex and sit liquid on it, and then you've got dump pressure there. So this is incentivizing people to stake, and it has a lot of kick-on effects as well, because if they do that, they're getting Hedron, and there's all other things.
I think those things are good. I think because the more you can kind of add value with you're minting Hedron, and you can stake it, and you can get Icosa and stake that and all this sort of stuff. I mean, people who aren't going to do it, they're just not going to do it. So that's fine. Yeah. But for the other people,
there's a couple of questions in the chat from Finbear and
chat.
40.
Yeah.
So those last couple of questions are probably worth having a chat about.
What was that one, mate?
So you got Finn. Can one still mint the communist tokens?
Oh yes.
So
I saw that.
Yeah. So the only way you can get communist tokens is by staking. So you've got to stake a minimum of 180 days, and it's proportional. So if you stake for 180 days, you'll get less than if you stake for max length, which makes sense. Much like you did with the Hedron, and it was based on T shares. The big difference with this one is it's a lot more scarce. I think I've always said that from the beginning. I just think Alex was probably a little bit too generous with the issuing of
the
Hedron.
10x. Yeah, the 10x multipliers.
And that caused a bit of downward pressure. This seems to be a lot more scarce, and all the ratios and everything that Johnny Sachs has worked out take into account all the dump pressure that exists. So when he's working out what amounts of liquidity we need to be able to protect against people just coming in and dumping, he's taken all of that into account. So existing stakers that have supply coming out, we know how to deal with it.
I liked Finbear's thing about is the communist.
Communist. No,
it's so easy to do that.
I think we should be calling it.
I think he's having a laugh.
Yeah.
It's the communist token. No, it's communist. But that it's very tempting to say that, isn't it? Shout out to Naz. Communist. Oh, there you go. Yeah, probably a bit better.
Did you see Matty Allen's? He's a smart one. He's got his referral link for Communist, but he's made a website, hexcommunity.com. So instead of sending people to Communist whatever, he's sending them that way, and that gets his referrals up. So he's a cheeky bugger, but first on it.
Yeah, we haven't even touched on any of that. Like, it actually re-initializes a referral program, which went by the wayside after the AA. So there's some cool things that come out of that. Now, there's a good and a bad side to that. Some people look at something and go, "Oh, it's got a referral program, therefore it's an MLM," and all this kind of bullshit. So be prepared for that little bit of FUD, I think.
Bit of FUD.
Yeah. But it does. It gives another avenue where, you can actually be encouraged to go and onboard people. It doesn't cost them anything. It comes off the back end.
Look, if the price, if it's bonded with Hex, right? Like if the people are doing this LP, then the communists could actually, or the communists could actually be worth decent amounts in the future as well.
Yeah.
Johnny Sachs was saying that, like in regards to 43's comment, it would also take a fair bit of like USDC backing or whatever as well to really get the rate up. Is that right, Jexa? To be able to hold it up high enough.
It can be done with Hex. So you can just keep pairing Hex ratios. I think what he was alluding to is, look, it would be nice to have a USD backing, because then it removes any sell pressure into Hex, I think was what he was saying. I'm a little bit hazy on why he was referring to that. Maybe it was just to stop volatility or something. I'm not.
No, but that makes sense in terms of selling. Yeah, because then.
So I've got to, like I said, I've got to tighten up on a few things that he's mentioned. But in terms of getting the actual coupon rate up, so to get it to a 5% coupon, there's a certain amount of there's a certain price you need communist at, and it's not much. Like if someone went and market bought 60,000 worth of it, it would get it to that price point. But the problem would be is the liquidity would be very thin, and if it wouldn't enable the system to scale, because as soon as people started getting calm, and if they wanted to sell it down, it would throw it out of whack. So you need to get not only it to a certain price, but then with enough depth in the liquidity so that it stabilizes. And you want to do that in tranches. So if you can get it to a certain amount of
the postman's here. That's cool.
So you want to do it in tranches.
Joggo is not happy with it. It's like, screw these commies. We're not talking about the communists. Just chill.
There must be a Jehovah's Witness at the door or something. So you do it in these tranches. So you build up enough liquidity at the 5% range, and then when you know that there's no people just coming and dumping, you go, okay, cool, safe to level it up and go up to the next band to take it up to the 10% range. So, sorry, just give me 2 seconds.
Interesting. Yeah, that's cool. It sounds like Jexa may have just taken care of his dog. One thing I was going to chat before we wrapped things up today was, have you been playing around with the 9-inch? That's cool.
Someone's just turned up unexpectedly. I'm going to have to bolt.
That's cool. No dramas at all.
Take it easy, Jexa.
Thanks for your alpha. Appreciate that. Have a good one, Jexa. Have you been playing around with the 9-inch farms?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. Set like a little bit of the USDC farm at one stage.
Yes.
And have taken a little bit out just as the price has sort of gone down, just to get a bit more 9-inch under my belt. But yeah, it's interesting to see what's going on there. It's
so
as soon as I did it though, I noticed the APRs that you're actually getting weren't right in regards to, you know, it was saying thousands of percent. So that was a bit misleading for some people if they were jumping in thinking they were getting that, but you're definitely not. So
I was just gonna say as like a I don't know, like a warning, that, you know, depending on these farms, whether you're on the Pulse side or the Ethereum side, because these APRs were off their tits, like it was, you know, 15,000% and all this sort of stuff. And I was just like, oh wow, you know, it's the next thing since sliced bread. It's just because it happened with PulseX, right? When the yield farms came out and the APR was just really, really good. And so it was good to get in early. And obviously as more people join the pools and the farms, then the APR drops. So that was to be expected. But one thing I didn't expect was the price of BBC and 9-inch to just take an absolute nosedive.
Massive hit.
Because
there's so much hype on it though.
Yeah, like I mean, I always expect the incentive token to get sold down because that's the yield that you're getting for, you know, to offset your impermanent loss. So people and while the APR is good and while the BBC token was worth a lot, it was wise to harvest it and sell it. But like as the price went down, it's almost as if it's no longer even, you know, like the APR I think is a bit deceptive because if you look at the actual chart, so it's basically the impermanent loss. But so this is on the ETH side. This is 9-inch. I mean, it's come back a bit today, but down 20% for the day. And what was BBC? So this is on the Ethereum side.
Yeah, they've been coming down real hard.
Yeah. So even though you're making quite a bit in terms of BBC, like in terms of your incentive token, if the price is going down 40% in a day, then that's going to fuck your APR right
It's
up.
not even worthwhile. Yeah, exactly.
It's not even worthwhile. Nope.
Yeah.
So I
unless
think maybe
you're
these
using
guys
it to buy in.
Yeah, unless you were like trying to
skyrockets.
accumulate 9-inch or trying to accumulate BBC, which is, you know, maybe fair enough. But I think I just was a little bit disappointed when it's like, I think maybe they shot themselves in the foot, whoever was just selling down this like so drastically. Or maybe the LP just wasn't high enough, like the liquidity wasn't high enough, but it just got hammered so quickly. So
there was a fair decent liquidity from what I saw.
Initially,
I'm just wondering if there was some big sacrifices in there, whether people have spotted something else they want to get into quickly, or because they got double because they got it on Ethereum and Pulse. It wasn't too bad in the end.
Yeah, so it just it looked really good. Like, you know, I was thinking, oh, the APR is good, everything's, you know, doing well, but then once the price of 9-inch and BBC started getting hammered, I was like, and I was harvesting the yield, and then I was like, even for the yield for this day, it's not worth me keeping it in this pool, like, because I'm losing money from the 9-inch, that, and it's not being offset by this. So like it was profitable at the start, and then it stopped being profitable and basically was like breaking even. And I'm like, well, then what's the point? Like, you know, you need the assets to be more stable than this. Otherwise, no one's going to provide, particularly with a stable pair, unless you're trying to accumulate, right? So this is one of the things that I talked about with Finbear on one of my streams ages back. That'll happen. Is when if the price is going up of an asset, right, and then you sell some, and then you pair it in the liquidity pool, let's say USD and whatever asset that you like, as the price of that does like a correction and a retracement, you're effectively buying back your position at a cheaper price. So you're lowering your average buy. And then, but if it goes down heaps, and then you want to, you actually want to buy more, you can probably just end that LP and just like literally buy it on market. So that's a good strategy for when if you think that there's a retracement, you know, to provide liquidity between a stable and that asset that you're accumulating.
That's right.
But otherwise, if you're going to be doing LP, you really need it to be in assets that you are bullish on long term, so that you're actually holding like for multiple years or whatever. So if the price of one goes down against the other, you're still bullish on that asset, like say Rat Pulse and Hex, right? So because they're going to fluctuate back and forward, but you could still be bullish on either one at any given time.
100%.
But when you go stablecoin pools, stablecoin like yield farming, if the price of one of those assets is something that you're not like planning on keeping for a long time, and that price starts going down, then the incentive that you're getting from the yield farms is not enough to offset the loss that you're taking in the token that you don't want. So which makes the whole thing an exercise in futility. So
exactly.
Hey, that was my point.
Did you see that? Yeah. No, I agree. I just saw that comment, sorry, from PulseX. It distracted me. They said the dev let out 10x too much BBC for the first blocks. That's why the price tanked. So it's supposed to be 10 per block, and it was 100 per block for a while.
Holy shit.
There we go. Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, that crushed it. Oh, okay. So that actually means that we were getting too much.
At the beginning. Yeah.
The APR was just artificially high. So that, okay. Because I did think it was pretty good initially, and then it just was like, this is not even worth doing anymore. So
for a short time, it seemed to be really good. The actual rewards, and then after a while, the numbers were still high, but it's like the rewards drop a lot in the way of the actual BBC, not the dollar value. So I don't know if it took a while for the numbers to then catch up to the changes they made.
Yeah. So now I think I'm just going to stick to LPing with the RH assets, to be honest, because I think that's just that way. If you goes down on paper, you're still like bullish on that asset, if you know what I mean. Because I don't know, maybe which is going to do well in the future, but I don't have the same level of confidence as with some of the other ones. I mean, it's not so bad if the price is stable, right? Like if it's going sideways, then you're accruing yield in the farms, and to offset your impermanent loss, and you might go down a little bit, but it can't go down 40% in a day, like every day. Otherwise, it's like,
just
what am I doing? So
it'll be nice when they get PulseX single-sided staking on there. They reckon that's going to happen.
But just be careful of the deposit fees.
Who goes over? Yeah.
Be careful of the deposit fees, because
I'll let the herd run ahead.
Well, I've just noticed that on the and I'll just maybe just do one last thing, because I probably should wrap this up soon. But this is a great example. I think Tangent has talked about this, so shout out to Tangent. But if you go to the farm.pussycat.life, the Tangang, like the Groves or whatever. This is trying to get me. I've got an on-stream wallet, so it's okay. With the farms and things like that, you've got this deposit fee, and they make it really obvious what the deposit fee is. And so with the single-sided staking, you'll notice the deposit fee is quite high, 4% for single-sided staking or single asset staking. We should be clear. Single asset staking to earn OG, but there's a 4% fee, right? That's quite a lot. I mean,
it is.
Only 1% on the pussy farms.
And what is what's the fee to come out?
I think there's this gas and everything like that, but I think that's it. So But you just got to be careful with these things, because you know, if you go to 1 inch, have they actually got the single-sided? These are the
I don't
pools.
think it's up yet, but
Single asset.
Yeah.
Well, this looks like stake 9 inch, and then you can stake BBC. But anyway, it's my only point was, be wary of the deposit fee.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
Also, shout out to any Tangang guys that are here, because and just to reiterate, always check, there's free airdrops up here in the more tab. So, you know, if you're quick, you can get some NFTs or whatever. Yeah, if you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, we got a couple during the week from the Watsa. They were giving out to Watsa.
The Watsa, that was the Charlie's.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Like, again, it's like adding value, like the communist thing, where it's like, if you happen to be in the community already, and then here's something that's just you get for free. Like if you happen to have Watsas, then you can get it for free. People may not be interested in NFTs, you know, the serial number loosely associated, or JPEG, with the JPEG, that whole thing.
Yeah.
But like it's free stuff, so it kind of adds value in a sense.
Yeah, those dinosaur ones are good that we got. They were cool.
Yeah, those bite ones. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Well, we should probably wrap it up. I think
Sweet.
I'll just was there anything that you wanted to say as like an outro or anything?
I reckon we should just give everyone time to go and listen to that Richard Hart audio, and
yes,
I'll finish it.
I think
off
that's where
too.
everyone's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no,
43
it's
is
good.
like.
So all it is it's good to hear from him and have some recent audio, so it'll just liven the community up a bit more. So no, I think it's good. But yeah, thanks for having me on again.
Of course, bro. Of
Enjoy
course.
it.
And last thing I just wanted to say was, I mentioned this at the start, but there's the PulseChain amicus brief, the petition at pulsepetition.org. Sign it, whatever, crank a VPN, sign it a bunch of times if you have to, or whatever. Yeah. But
just don't spam.
I think it's good.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, true. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. Only sign it if you believe in what it's talking about, and if you are on board with it. So make your own decisions. But let me just stop this. And shout out to the chat, of course, as always.
Catches in the chat, Claz, Finburn, PulseX.
PulseX, appreciate your insights. Thanks for that. And yeah, we'll see you next week. So enjoy your weekend, bro. And to the viewers, have a good weekend.
Cheers. Catch you later.
Thanks, guys. Catch up.